Hey, you. Do you want to know some things about Tulsa before moving here? Well, I'm going to break it down for you and give you 10 things you need to know before moving to Tulsa. Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Steven, the 918 agent, and today we are going to be talking about the things you need to know before moving to Tulsa. There's a lot of things you should know and need to know, and I'll be going over those things. Some of these things might be positives for you. Some of these things might be negative for you. And really, I just want to give you the facts. But my dad always told me there's two things that you do not talk about to others. You don't talk about religion, and you don't talk about politics. Well, Dad, I'm sorry. I'll be talking about both. So let's go ahead and dive into the 10 things you need to know about Tulsa before moving here. Let's get it rolling. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is the cost of living. So how much does it cost to live here in Tulsa? Well, I already did this video, so if you want to click that link right above, and you can see basically my breakdown of what the cost is to live in Oklahoma. It's not very expensive, and to put it in perspective for you, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath here in Tulsa costs around $200,000. Now, I forgot to mention this in my intro. I am a real estate agent, so if you need any help with anything when moving to Tulsa, please reach out to me. You can reach my contact information right there. Also, my social media handles are down in the description below. Number 2 on my list is political views. So you should know what you're getting into when you move to Oklahoma, especially in the political realm in these days. So I'll tell you this. Oklahoma is part of that Southwest, Midwest, whatever you want to group Oklahoma in under states. But we pretty much have the same view type as most of these, and that is we are a red state. In 2020, all of our counties here in Oklahoma voted for President Trump in the presidential election. Our governor is Republican, and he kind of reminds me of President Trump in one aspect, as he had no background in politics before running as governor. He was actually in the mortgage and lending industry and decided, hey, I want to, throw my hat in the ring and try to run the state better. And so his name is Kevin Stent, and he's been our governor for the last couple of years now. Now, Tulsa, let's talk about Tulsa. Tulsa is a little bit different than the rest of Oklahoma. And the reason why I say that is registered voters. So I went and looked at the registered voters here in the Tulsa area, and this is what I found. 150,000 people are registered as Republicans. And then we have 110,000 that are registered as Democrats, which I thought was very, very interesting. And actually that makes a lot of sense once I, look on Facebook and walk around town. I can kind of see that. Yet Tulsa is, still a red county or red city. It's not very far. The Democrats, or that Democratic view, is not very, very much behind. And I'll say the same thing about Mayor G.T. Bynum. He did run under the Republican ticket. However, a lot of people say that he's a secret Democrat. And some of his policies have shown that, which I think he's doing an amazing job, but that's what I hear a lot of people say. Now, if you live around the suburbs like Owasso, Broken Arrow, Sand Springs, Sapulpa, around Tulsa, you will notice that you are pretty much in a red city. A lot of the Republicans live out in the suburbs of Tulsa. But once again, I will say Tulsa has that good mix of Republican and Democrat. The third thing you should know about Oklahoma and Tulsa is how we handled COVID. I think it's very important. That's been a big topic over the last, year of how states handled it differently. So this is how Oklahoma handled it. Governor Stent basically shut down the whole entire state on April 1st. Now, a couple of counties shut down earlier than that because of confirmed cases. And Tulsa actually shut down way before that, probably in the middle of March, just because, G.T. Bynum thought that was the right decision for our city. Everything started opening back up. April 23rd, Kevin Stent announced phase 1 of the reopening process. And that included businesses like personal care facilities, state parks, outdoor recreation, dine-in restaurants, excluding the bars, cinemas, gyms, sports venues, and places of worship like churches and things like that. Phase 2 began on May 15th. Now that included reopening of bars at a limited capacity, also funerals, weddings, and organized sports. Once again, you do have to social distance during this whole entire time. And the last phase was phase 3, and it began June 1st. And this included businesses that were restricted by appointments only, summer camps, limited visitations at hospitals, and long-term care facilities. The other thing you should know about Tulsa and COVID is Tulsa is one of the few cities here in Oklahoma that require you to wear a mask. So we do have a mask mandate. It started on July 19th, 2020, and it was just extended to April 30th, 2021. I'll say this about the mask. I go out a lot in Tulsa and I wear my mask, but I see a lot of people that don't wear masks, and I don't see anybody getting tickets or yelling or anything like that. So just know that I don't think people are getting tickets and things like that. The fourth thing you should know about Oklahoma and Tulsa is weed and alcohol. So first off, let's talk about the marijuana. Marijuana is that it is legal here. It is legal for people that have a medical card, which is very simple to get. I will put down a link in the description if you are moving to Tulsa and need to get a medical card. You can find that information down below. But like I said, you need a medical card to get to basically purchase marijuana. And we have dispensaries everywhere, basically on every single corner. So these are basically the quantities that you can get. And I thought I would mention to you them real quick, and you can see them to the side. But you can get up to 8 ounces of marijuana at home, up to 3 ounces of marijuana on their persons, up to 1 ounce of concentrated marijuana, up to 72 ounces of edible marijuana, up to 6 mature marijuana plants, and up to 6 seedling plants. And so that's what you need to know about weed. The other thing I want to talk about is alcohol. So a couple of years back, you weren't allowed to buy, or you couldn't have the opportunity to buy wine or High Point beers in gas stations and grocery stores. But like I said a couple of years ago, you can now buy wine and High Point beer in gas stations and grocery stores. The only thing you can't buy there is hard liquor, and you'll have to go to a liquor store, which are open Monday through Saturday, not open on Sunday, and basically open from 10 a.m. noon to 9 o'clock p.m. You might find some liquor stores that are open a little bit later, but most of them shut down at 9 o'clock p.m. So you should know that before you move to Oklahoma. Number 5 thing you should know is Oklahoma is part of the Bible Belt, and it actually is considered the belt buckle of the Bible Belt. So we like our Jesus here, and the joke that I say to people when they're moving to Tulsa is we have a church on every corner, and we have a marijuana dispensary on every single corner. So if you don't have a church home and interested in finding a church home here in Oklahoma, I recommend 2 churches. The first one is Transformation Church. It's an amazing church. It's a really nice facility, and they have a great pastor. His name is Pastor Todd. He does a really amazing job of speaking, and I have a lot of friends that go there, and they love it. The other place that I go to, and a lot of my friends go to this church too, is Life Church. It actually started in Oklahoma City. It's one of those virtual TV churches, and the pastor of that church is Greg Groeschel, and he does an amazing job speaking too. Great place, 2 great churches here in Tulsa. The 6th thing you should know is gun laws. And I respond to that, what gun laws? I'm just kidding. But I'll read this little section I have for you right here. Is Oklahoma has long been an open carry state, allowing most adults to carry guns openly without a permit, as long as they have a legitimate purpose and aren't violating other laws. In 2019, by eliminating the license requirement for carrying concealed handguns, but not everyone is allowed to carry guns in the state. And firearms are still restricted in some locations like churches, banks, schools, obviously. So it's pretty easy to get your hands on here, or hands on a gun here, and I do not see that changing anytime soon. No. Will not happen. No. Number 7 on my list is the Tulsa crime rates, which I've already talked about in a separate video. So if you want to click that link above, you can see what I say about the Tulsa crime rates, and I give a lot of facts and great information. But I will say this. I didn't really know Tulsa was that dangerous until I was talking to a friend. I didn't even know Tulsa was dangerous, and this is how the conversation went. My buddy was like, "Hey, Steven, do you know it's super dangerous to live in Tulsa and we're ranked really high across the nation for crime?" Really? Yeah, really. It's very dangerous. Huh, interesting. So, yeah, I didn't know, and yeah. Number 8 on my list of things you need to know is basically what Tulsa's like. It reminds me a lot of a smaller Austin. And the reason why I say that is because we have a lot of artistic culture in the Tulsa area. We have a lot of entrepreneurs and we have a lot of people that are starting up local businesses, and it is great. For example, we have the Tulsa PSC, which is a performing arts center where we have the Tulsa Symphony, Tulsa Ballet. We have Broadway musicals. If you go a little bit farther north, you can go to the Tulsa Arts District, where you have the Woody Guthrie Museum. We also have some other art shows and events in that area that support local art. We have 2 great museums here in Tulsa with the Gilchrist and the Philbrook Museums. On the entrepreneurial standpoint is we have a lot of people that are starting new and fantastic businesses here in Tulsa, in which if you want to be part of it, you can go to this great share co-working space called 36 Degrees North, and you can meet some of those entrepreneurs and local businessmen that are officing out of that shared space, which is really neat, and I would recommend going to it. Number 9 on my list is the great events that Tulsa has, and they're a lot of fun. So let me go ahead and break down some of these events. The first one I want to talk about is the Tulsa Great Raft Race, and basically it's people building their own rafts and going down the Arkansas River. It's a lot of fun. It happens around the 4th of July. The other thing I want to talk about is Mayfest. This is another artistic art festival that happens in May, and people really enjoy it. It happens in the downtown area, and you can go and shop and look at other local art and artists come out and show their art. We have the state fair that happens every year. We have a cool concert that's called the Hop Jam, and basically the Hanson brothers started this, and you can go out, drink some beer, listen to some music, watch concerts. The Hanson brothers are usually the last act that go on, and it's a lot of fun. Another thing I want to talk about is the Ironman. Ironman 2021 is happening here in Tulsa. They're having their own race here in Tulsa. It was supposed to happen in 2020, but it got canceled because of COVID. But they're coming out 2021 in May, and it's going to be great. Oktoberfest. That is a great event. Basically, go out. It happens in October. Go out, have a great time, bring the family out. They have rides and things like that. At nighttime, it gets a little bit crazy, but once again, it's a lot of fun. And then the last thing is Tulsa Tough. This is a big event that happens in Tulsa. It's a big bike race that happens over the weekend, most of the time in June. Make sure you go check out Crybaby Hill. And the 10th thing you need to know about Tulsa is basically Tulsa's been getting a lot of attention. And I'll explain why. The first thing is the gathering place, the park that I always talk about. It's free, it's amazing, but it just got recognized as the top park in the United States. The next thing is some of the distribution centers here in Tulsa. We have 2 fairly new distribution centers that brought in a lot of jobs, and that is Amazon and Macy's. Another thing is the BMX Olympic Development Center, or not development, but training facility. So if you're training for the Olympics and you're a BMX rider, you're going to be located here in Tulsa, and it's going to be a great state-of-the-art facility. We're one of the finalists for Tesla's Gigabyte factories, and we tried really hard for them to choose Tulsa, but they ended up going with Austin, Texas, so it made us come in 2nd place, which I'm cool with, because, hey, I'm from Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's not every day we got, to compete with Austin in something, but that put Tulsa on the map, and everybody looked at Tulsa like, wow, Tesla really thought about building one of their factories here in the Tulsa area. Well, once again, we didn't end up getting it, but it still helped us out a lot and put us on the map. The last thing I want to talk about is President Trump. During COVID, he decided to have a rally here at the BOK in Tulsa. This was his first rally back once COVID hit, and I think it went really, really well. Basically, he flew in, flew out. We didn't have any issues with rioters. We didn't have any issues with things getting burnt down. No one got killed, thank goodness. So it was basically, I think a successful event on that standpoint. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please click my face right there and subscribe so you can see all my new videos. The top video right there is what YouTube recommends for you to watch. The videos down below is the playlist of everything you need to know about Tulsa. Thanks for watching. Steven out.